Alright, hey guys, welcome back to another discussion video, and today we have some more dev replies on this thread that we did check out, I'm going to say about a week ago. We checked this thread out. We didn't see any dev reply. Well, we did see one dev reply, but it was just asking, just a general question, not really much information for it. But now we do have some more dev replies, this one right over here, and I think one on the third page as well. Yep, two. So we're going to check it out. We're going to see if there's any new information, and we're going to go from there. Like always, I'm going to link this down below. And just quickly, we are going to reread the original post just to get a good understanding of what it's about. So the title is Where to Buy War Horses Now? Question mark. Then we got, hi there. I've started a new campaign, 1.5.7, and can't find any cheap war horses for sale to upgrade my cavalry, 100 plus men. All old places where I used to buy cheap Imperial Chargers are now selling saddle horses and other war horses, and the only other war horses I can find is very few, 3 to 5, in several cities, and they are way too expensive, like 700 to 1200 dinars, which makes cavalry in the game ridiculously expensive. Especially when you lose in a battle several cavalrymen, it is a real pain. So the question is, where do you buy war horses in this game now? Maybe there's a new way about cavalry to get horses cheap, which I don't know, because otherwise it just doesn't make any sense to use cavalry. So we did talk about this previously where I think it's in a good spot. I think it should be actually expensive because I think cavalry is obviously one of the strongest units in the game. So it makes sense. I've talked about how you can attack step bandits, you can attack Khazate lords. Those have a chance to drop in war horses. You can raid saddle horse villages whenever you're at war, or your kingdom's at war with another kingdom. Those provide you with a chance to get war horses. And also, I think, this price, it is steep. And like this person down here has said that, the cheapest ones you'll find is 200 to 400, but they're kind of rare to find those, which are the Imperial Chargers. Then we have 5 to 600 is a good price. And then above that is kind of, it's more likely you're going to get this 700 to 1200 dinar rate, which again I didn't think was a big problem. And in terms of how much war horses you find per city, I think 3 to 5 is fine too. I don't think it should be that common. I think those horses, should be a little bit less common, because obviously upgrading your troops with war horses makes them very, very strong. So I think it is worth the dinars, and also the extra time it takes to actually find the war horses. And then obviously we saw this map right here, the best routes for Imperial Chargers. And now let's move on to what the devs have to say. So obviously right over here, okay, let's read this player's reply and then just start from right over here. So the player states, I will guess I understood, but what was the problem with shortages of Imperial... Okay, let me restart. Well, I guess I understood. What was the problem of shortages of Imperial Chargers after 1.5.7? In Imperial villages breeding horses, they produce many types of horses. I don't know why, and this is weird. No, every single saddle horse village produces different types of horses. They don't all just produce one type. Midland Palfrey, Imperial Charger, Sturgian Trotter, Sturgian Hunter. That is kind of weird that they do... okay, yeah, that might be a little bit weird. Okay, so they produce all types. I also checked horse breeding villages of other cultures. They produce only horses of their culture. So Battanian villages, only Battanian pony. Okay, so it looks like Imperial villages, they for some reason produce different cultures horses, and then the other cultures like Battania, Khazates, Azrai, they produce their own culture type of horse. Okay. So then the dev replies, says, wasn't it same before 1.5.72? Did you see any change at these productions in 1.5.7? He asked the question. Now, player responds, yes, there were much more Imperial Chargers selling in cities before, and now you can rarely find 1 to 2. Okay. And then we have a reply right over here after he checked the code of the save, I'm guessing, right? Or no, just regular code. So the dev says, I checked code changes at breeding village productions, but there seems no change at horse production since EA start. Interesting. So there hasn't been any changes at all since like the start of EA, which is like 1.1, or 1.0. So he states there are 11 Empire breeding villages at all world and all produce daily 0.5 Empire Tier 1 horse, 0.125 Empire Tier 2 horse, 0.5 Sturgeon Tier 1 horses, and there it is. So I'm guessing the Imperial Charger is a Tier 2 horse. I'm guessing he's a Tier 2 horse because it would be a war horse, right, which is the biggest one. So 0.125 Tier 2 horses per day. That means in less than what? What is that? 9 days? No. About 8 to 9 days of in-game time, a new horse will appear. 12. Yeah, about 9 days. Okay. And then for the Azurai, they produce daily 1.5 Azurai Tier 1 horses and 0.5 Tier 2 horses. Okay. And Botania and Khazate are the same thing as the Azurai. Okay. Dev states, it's weird we do not have different Sturgian / Vlandian horse ranches, and Empire tries to produce all 3 faction horses. I will ask to create specialized breeding villages for Sturgia and Vlandia. However, I could not find what changed at 1.5.7. So you see less Empire horses at map. These horses was always less at world, maybe since EA start. Okay, so what he states here is it's weird that Sturgia and Vlandians do not have their own saddle horse villages, and then he's going to look into actually, I'm guessing changing some of the village productions. I doubt they're going to add new villages, but maybe changing some productions would be kind of good so that empires can produce their horse primarily, therefore probably increasing these amounts. Because the reason these amounts are lower than, let's say, the Azurai, 0.5 Empire Tier 1 versus the Azurai 1.5 Azurai Tier 1, and then the 0.125 Empire Tier 2 versus the Azurai 0.5 Tier 2 is because they produce so many other horses as well. So it's a lower rate, but more horses over time will be spawned than obviously here. So, okay. Sounds cool. That could be a possible change for the future. Alrighty. Then we have another player and another dev response. The player says, so in one game of 1.5.9, I was able to find a good amount early in the game, amassed about 20, but then did not hardly find more after that, about 30 days in. In a single game, I did not find very many early, in a second game, I did not find very many early, just 5 or so, and continued to find a few in the villages or towns from time to time as the game goes on. So there's probably a little randomness as to how many are made and brought to town initially. Then it probably gets reduced by inevitable imperial wars. Well, no. What happens is it's not random how they're produced. Like if this is what's in the code, then they're going to be produced at a steady rate. The thing that's random is, well, I guess he kind of said it, like, if caravans come by, if an AI lord comes by and they want some horses, they're going to buy them up, you know what I mean? So your first save, probably that village was, nobody bought anything from that village until you arrived. And the second one, people came to that village and kept buying. And whenever you showed up, they were pretty much all out. And then he states, this could explain the scarcity, as when doing poorly equals more rated horse villages or caravans. When doing well, more rich lords buying them up. I know they don't use them for upgrades, but I still believe they buy them. Yes, they AI lords always buy horses, obviously for inventory space, and I don't know if they do it exactly to go faster, even though that is the thing that happens when you buy more horses. But yeah, the devs have said they do always try to keep a good amount of horses, especially the bigger AI parties. And dev responds, yes, even when they do not use these horses for upgrading troops for now, they still buy horses, especially if they are rich. Exactly what I just said. There it is. When a lord enters a settlement, he checks his financial situation and how many horses his party has. Then he can buy more horses if needed. Having spare horses at inventory speeds their party. Okay, so the AI does understand that more horses equals faster speed. Okay, cool. Dev says he will try to change production of 3 villages to breeding. one to a Vlandian area, one to a Sturgian area, and one to an Empire area, and increase Empire horse production. Okay, cool. Ooh. Okay, so he's going to increase Empire horse production. Um, Wait a minute. 1 and 0.25 for Empire, Tier 1 and Tier 2. Was 0.5 and 0.125. So he's going to increase, he's pretty much going to double the current speed. It's still going to be less than the, the Khazaits and Battanians. Khazaits and Battanians are 1.5 and 0.5 for Tier 1 and Tier 2. The Empire will be raised to 1 and 0.25, and this will still include all the other horses they produce. Low-key, raiding a saddle horse village for the Empire is going to be very, very profitable in the time between when these new villages are not new villages, when 3 of the villages' productions are changed, which will probably take a little bit longer. So this quick buff to how fast the Empire will produce horses will make the villages very, very important in terms of even if you want to trade horses, if you want to get more horses, or if you want to raid it and get the horses for free. So, very cool. So, something we're going to see very soon is a buff to the Empire horse production. And something we're going to see later is the production of 3 villages changed. One in Vlandian area, one in Sturgian area, and another one for the Empire. Cool. Then he states change productions. Okay, so now this was on Wednesday, and then yesterday he stated that he changed productions, and now all breeding villages of all cultures now only produce their own culture's horses. Oh, okay, never mind. So it looks like when he made this change for the Empire, he also took out the other horses that were there. So never mind. They won't be that crazy. So he says he changed the productions, and now all breeding villages of all cultures now produce only their culture's horses. Also converted 2 Vlandian and Sturgian villages to breeding villages from fishermen/grain/flax villages. This will increase the count of horses at World slightly and reduce prices a bit. Now 9 Empire breeding villages only produce Empire Tier 1 and Tier 2 horses. Cool. So now all the Empire villages that used to produce all the other ones, the Sturgian and the Vlandian horses, will only produce Empire horses. Okay, cool. And so it's definitely a change, and horse prices will be lower now. Also cool. So I think this in a way does change. Help him out, the main poster. So very cool. As you can see, the villages. These are the ones that will now have it. Cool. Obviously, I don't know exactly when these changes will be brought out. Maybe in the next patch. I doubt they're right now, because I haven't seen anything in the hotfix about it. So probably in the next patch, or maybe in the next hotfix, we'll see. But I will keep you guys informed. But this is what the changes for horse production in general is, and I'm okay with it. We'll see how it goes. I didn't even know, to be honest with you, that the Empire villages, they produce Sturgian and Vlandian horses as well. I'll be honest with you, I don't spend as much time in the Empire section of the map as I should maybe, but very cool. All right, let me know what you guys think. Ask me any questions, any concerns, and like always, stay safe.